I'm barely tall enough for this, but right behind the Quidditch pitch, ignore the extremely disorganized just sports shelf over there. I'm going to put it behind the Quidditch display. I think it's going to work out the best there because everything else is very full. And I wanted to do this piece before the hospital wing because I just kind of wanted something in that back corner, and at least it goes with the actual Quidditch pitch. There's, I think, a half base plate back there of size, so that should do relatively perfect. I got to fix the lighting up there, but I'm going to do that once I actually start moving it around for the hospital wing. And I want the east bridge or the east wing portion of the castle that just came out. But overall, it's a big boy, 8 feet or so. Yeah, it's a big boy. Here is the actual set itself. Like I said, this is flying lessons. Anytime you see Hogwarts Castle on it, it's technically part of the modular system, but this, Hagrid's Hut, the Herbology class, the Owlery, they technically don't connect to the system, so these are like optional outliers of the group, which is why I said like 80 bucks, it like 651 pieces, 6 minifigures, fine. Like, I think 80 was maybe a little bit high for it in my opinion, but you do have a nice array of minifigures to it. But with the system being as expensive as it is, you know, you gotta pick and choose sometimes, and this just wasn't one of the ones that I particularly wanted. However, for half off, I'm gonna get that every day of the week. So for 40 bucks, I mean, you know, you really can't hate it. So now you can also combine this with 76442. I forget which set that actually is, and I cannot by any means actually read that. Whatever 76442 is. So you can see right down here, and Hogwarts Castle has a lot of these pieces where you can add extra interior detail through other sets. I think that's a really cool approach. However, most people don't have it on display for the interior, so you know, if it comes to me spending the extra 20 to 50 bucks on some of these sets to just get some interior detail, I tend not to do it just because, you know, again, the castle right now, I think with the newest piece is $1,200 to build the entire thing. So that's a lot, let alone for my display. You know, we have the Tri-Wizard area, we have the Dumbstrad ship, we have the entire Forbidden Forest, all customized. We have the Quidditch pitch, we have a lot of extra minifigures, details, lighting kits. So, you know, it's obviously a very expensive endeavor, and it's massive. I mean, it's insane. So once I add these last couple pieces to it, I'm going to be curious to see how big it all fits and what I have to do in terms of the display. But, you know, I'm excited. I haven't built a ton of Harry Potter recently. I did the herbology class, earlier in June, I think. I don't know, somewhere around there. But this is more that medium size. But I'm super excited to build another one. I hope you guys are too. Remember, you can like, comment, subscribe, become a member, share the channel, you know, the whole 9 yards. You leave a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any small sets or details that you think I should be adding. Again, I want to tile off the actual water, but I don't want to do it until I do the hospital wing, which is literally right back in that corner in the backlog. You can see the gold box all the way just under the legendary dragon wings. I almost said talons. And then I have to get the east wing yet, but then I'm hoping I have enough of a basis that I can kind of do a little bit of everything. But, you know, we're slowly getting there. The backlog's not too bad. You can see the rest of it there. The city freshly dusted and cleaned, but I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Now let's get started on the amazing build, folks. And again, let me know any little details, anything like that. I'm trying to tell as much of the story as I can, but there's obviously a lot to it, so just feel free to let me know in the comments below. So, fun fact, I just finished up the entire review of this, did like 15 to 20 minutes of videoing, making the short, doing all the photos, etc., getting this placed in Hogwarts, and then I went to my phone, which I'm using as my camera for the bulk of these videos, for Legos at least, and it said file is not supported despite just recording it, and literally missed the entirety of the review, so I'm going to redo it, hence the frustration in my voice. I hate this. I have the Pixel 10 XL, and it is so weird with the camera. I just don't understand it sometimes. I really don't. I've tried the raw mode. I've tried just like JPEG only. I've tried external. I don't know. So I'm either really gonna have to just like do the black magic camera, or I'm gonna have to either get a lens for my normal camera, or I was debating picking up like something like the Insta360 or the DJI Pocket. I'm not sure, but I do miss my Samsung when it comes to the video and the camera. That the colors are always weird on this, so I always have to do a lot of extra. But yeah, again, I'm not going to ramble on too much about that. Just, a little bit of the frustration that comes with this phone, and apologies for the unsightly bandage on my finger. I did get a slightly awful knife wound a couple days ago at work. I was cutting through something, and the knife unfortunately hit a hard part and slid, a whole 9 yards here. We will start with the minifigures as always. We will start with Oliver Wood, a minifigure that is technically already in my display up top, which is flying around in the working Quidditch pitch, but it's nice to see another version. And of course, that black sweater is nice, especially if you're going to put him in like the Lego City or something, a little bit different than his normal traditional like Gryffindor garb. For Madam Hooch, looks fantastic. I really like the eyepiece as well. Torso print, the gloves, the cape. They did a really nice job with her. Then move on to Draco, which with his daddy provided broom. Overall, looks really nice. They all have really nice torso print in terms of the house, or their respective houses, I should say. 2 Gryffindor and 1 Slytherin. But overall, looks really nice, and you got that really, maniacal smile, which always works out for him. Then move on to the main man, of course, my 700,000th Harry Potter minifigure, and I believe this is the Nimbus 2000, but I could be incorrect. It's been a hot minute since I've actually watched or read Harry Potter. I'm reading the Red Rising series right now, which, woo, what a series. I love it. And then we move on to Neville Longbottom. I did find a really fun way to display him in this set. And then last, and actually certainly least on this one, is Professor McGonagall. They really went boring with her minifigure on this one. Not a bad face, but like okay hair, no arm print, no bottom print on the dress. Just leaves a little bit to be desired here. I definitely think she's the weakest part of the set in terms of the minifigures. Now, in retrospect to this, I'm putting this on a half base plate, so I'm not going to be able to likely display it in full. It's just a little bit too large. The half base plate goes to right about this groove here, so this can always be bent to the background. You would lose a little bit of the sight of the statue, but it is what it is. I also added a little flame here because I think it looks better as a torch. We have a couple lanterns here and a couple of these translucent pieces, which are exactly what you think. They're so we can make a flying display. So for instance, Harry and Draco here. For Neville, I've decided to put him at the top upside down. I feel like that's the best way to kind of display Neville. Again, I already had all this stuff kind of like spaced out up top, so I already knew where both of those are going. And then some of that rock work and tree work on the outside. In terms of the back half, I will start over here. We have Madam Hooch's office, as well as a couple of the house sigils in like this little room down here, as well as a couple of the display plaques as featured in all of them, the archway where they actually come out onto the Quidditch pitch. And then we have 2 rooms here. We have the Transfiguration classroom, which comes out in this like church pew style, which looks nice. Black parrot on one side and a goblet on the other. And then we move to my favorite feature, which is the actual Quidditch supply room with the golden snitch, some beaters, some bludgers. Looks really nice. And again, obviously these rooms come out and you can put other rooms in here if you buy some of the smaller sets or want to customize something. All they do is slide in and then lock in gently with a couple of the 1x2 Technic blue pieces. You know the ones by now. But overall, you can display it a couple different ways. You can fold it if you really want to be a little bit strapped to a room, which I'm sure we all are at this point. You have access to the actual main play features here, or you can open it up. Like I said, the thing that I basically decide with is this. I think this works out the best for my display, and then I basically just am going to be keeping Oliver Wood over here. Again, you guys will see that in the next couple seconds when we actually move on to the main feature. I don't know why this didn't record, but it is what it is. So hopefully this one works out so I don't have to redo it. Overall, the set is good for $40. It was a really, really nice build. Again, I think 70 or 80 is just a little bit too much for it. But if you can definitely find this on clearance like I did, I recommend it because it's a nice standalone piece. Given that I paid the same for this as I did the herbology class, this is obviously the better of the two, and it is a nice standalone piece, and once it's behind the actual Quidditch pitch, I think it's going to look like a really solid piece. All right, so I decided to do it this way. I wanted Madam Hooch up top. It's her area of the castle. Neville flying upside down, of course, because it's Neville. And then I have Harry and Draco running away here, and Oliver Wood looking here. I wanted to at least show it to you guys on how it's going to look from the back half before I actually add it to the Harry Potter area. All right, well, I'll do the best angle that I can get here, but it looks really nice behind the Quidditch pitch. I technically have a little bit more than a half base plate back there. I always forget, so I can probably expand that a little bit further. I just had to move Oliver Wood over a little bit. Try and do the wide angle the best I can here. I'm literally on a ladder for this. Very exciting. I'm going to be working on this lake here pretty soon. Very excited for that, but it's looking beautiful. Fixed up some of the lighting while I'm up here. Lighting kit all the way in the back. I'm working on some custom stuff too, so looks great. I think it's a really nice addition, and I'm really happy with it, so thank you guys so much. Next time, or pretty soon, I'll be doing the hospital wing. I have another big project for the city as well, but we're definitely back in a groove of things, so thank you guys so much. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and follow me, follow the channel. Everything else helps, obviously, and thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy building, everybody.